I need to shave. I slept hella late last night and then got up at 1 p.m. Because I was out with my host and stuff. Or my host was with a bunch of Russians and we chilled with them. They didn't really speak English, but it was fine. I ended up sleeping late. I was looking to go get lunch somewhere. I don't know, it was like 3 p.m. I was getting pretty hungry, although I'm like weirdly not hungry because I have like crazy diarrhea. It probably has something to do with it. I realized I talk about my poop a lot. Not intentional, I just, I don't know, I don't usually have stomach problems. Anyway, the point is, there's a shop called My Sandwich that I'd seen before, and I saw it had been closed for renovations, but people were standing around it, so I like tried to go in because I was like, oh, maybe it's open, because it had cheap sandwiches and it looked good, and I was like, yeah, and he's like, oh no, sorry, we're closing. And so the guy called me back, and then apparently they're like trying to fix it up before they reopen next week, after their renovations and like a revamped menu. Basically, long story short, I got like a free sandwich, 2 free sandwiches, sat with the owner, talked with him. Basically, because I'm an Asian guy, I got 2 free sandwiches. It was pretty sick. So best of luck to My Sandwich with their new opening. The sandwiches were actually hella good though. So normally the problem is with Doner, which is like the cheapest food you can probably get, it's either too salty or too dry or something like that. Sandwiches were very moist in my mouth and they were not too dry. And now it's like 3:30. I'm just gonna go work for the rest of the day probably. I have a shit ton of bug bites. Look at that one. This is like one of the main walking streets of Baku. I went in the wrong building. That's where my host lives. They legit all look exactly the same. Holy shit, that's a lot of buildings actually. I must be in some industrial center. That's a building for Deloitte. It's super windy today. I don't know why. It's also windy last night, but it's super nice for running. Like perfect weather. Water, Haribo candy. Holy fuck, it's so windy. I actually don't know what's going on. Vodka napkin. This bottle of vodka is $2.